This podcast is brought to you in part by PNP Games, your online source for everything video games. Visit their website at pnpgames.com or visit one of their 3 retail locations in Winnipeg, Manitoba. If you are in Winnipeg, Manitoba, that is. All right, everybody, and welcome to the DeREZD podcast. This is episode number 8. Since I didn't do it at the start of the episode, this episode we're going to be talking about Xbox One. A lot of Xbox talk, actually, not just Xbox One. We're going to be talking a lot about VR, and we're going to talk about Facebook, because this is a catch-up cast, because we haven't done one in a while. As always, I'm your host, Lloyd Hannison, and joining me, as always, with feeling a little bit heavier on one of his hands, Will Kelly. Will, how the hell are you?
Oh, I like that ketchup cast. Is that something that is that patent pending, Lloyd?
Yeah, you put ketchup and then some mustard and just eat it up. It's a tasty hot dog.
Yes.
Although people that put ketchup on hot dogs are just evil people. So
what do you do?
What's
mustard?
That? Mustard and relish. That's the only way.
I can't even. I'm done. If I could drop my mic right now.
All right, that was the shortest episode of the DeREZD podcast. No. So, Will, how the hell are you, man?
I'm phenomenal. As you alluded to, my left hand's a little bit heavier now. The reason we have had a little bit of a hiatus, or partially anyway, is the fact that I've been gone for 2 weeks. I am a married man now. I have actually, I would say I'm the ball and chain. I don't have the ball and chain. But that's okay. That is great. I'm happy, and the wedding was awesome. So
cool. Well, congratulations, man. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I did miss you there. I sent the invite. May have showed up a little late to your doorstep. It got caught up in the snow up north. So I apologize about that. But
that's okay. It's hard to find our igloos up here. Just mail delivery sometimes delayed when the igloo gets snowed over. Well,
and sometimes your igloo mailbox door freezes shut, and so then they have to take it back with them.
Yeah, it's actually just a block of ice, and the mailman actually has to melt a hole into it and put the mail in. It takes forever. Mail's awesome. It just takes forever to deliver up here in Canada.
Oh, too funny.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, it wasn't only Will getting married that for the reason why I haven't done shows. I haven't actually recorded a podcast in 2.5 weeks. Work has been absolutely insane. I've been putting in extra overtime, or I've been there longer. It's not really overtime, I guess, because that infers some sort of compensation. But there's stuff that has to be done, so I have to be there to do it. But it's been nuts, and I've been getting home. I'll get home at 7, 8, 9. Say hi to the kids, give them a hug, and then pass out and go to sleep. I haven't played very many games because of that. I was supposed to be off all this week, and I've only been off for a couple days, so it's been nuts. But I think things are back to they're back down to, I don't know, ground. We've grounded the problems, and I think things will start getting better. So my apologies for basically just going silent for the last couple of weeks. Thanks everybody that has been checking in on Twitter, Facebook, and email. I didn't get hit by a bus or anything. I just felt like I got hit by a bus and then run over a few times by the same bus. So yeah.
See, you don't need to know what your clout is. All you have to do is just disappear from the internet for a little while and don't post about your shows and games, and you'll find out how much you're loved.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need clout.com at all. You just need to not put out a podcast for a while, and then people ask you what's been happening. So it's good, and I just wanted to again apologize for just going silent for a couple of weeks. It's just been totally insane. So hopefully this will be the last of that, and we can get back into doing our regular shows here at the VG Podcast Network.
Definitely.
All right, Will. Yeah, I don't even know how to do the show. It's been so long. Let's talk about how to get a hold of us. If you want to send us an email, if you want us to talk about it on the show or send us a voicemail, you can do that at vgpodcast@gmail.com is the email, or 505 VG-podcast is the phone line that you can call and leave a voice message. You can reach me on Twitter. I'm at @DazMe, and Will, you're at Ilium. Ilium.
Either or.
It's William.
Whatever.
William without the W, I guess.
William without the W, one less L. So it's a little confusing.
Oh, that's right, because there's only one L. Yeah, Ilium is the better thing, because his name is Bob on Twitter. Just follow him, Bob on Twitter.
Just look for Bob. I bet there's only one, and it's me.
It's good. Twitter's small, right? There's only like a couple hundred people on it, so it should be easy to get a name. All right, man. What do you say we get into the show?
It sounds great. Sounds great. If it makes you feel any better, I'm distracted because Steve C is texting me how amazing Captain America 2 is. And
how's Steve C?
He's doing good.
Yeah, good.
Real good, actually.
I want to chat with him a little bit. Just make sure things are going okay on his side. But let's jump right into the show. We're going to get into our End of Line segment. End of Line is, of course, the biggest news item that we're going to spend a lot of time talking about before we get into the rest of the news. This one's going to be, as I said, a bit of a catch-up cast. So there's going to be a lot of catching up to do. So we're going to talk about a lot of different topics on a lot of different things. So just don't mind us if we start getting into the 2-hour range, because it might go crazy. But I guess the biggest news item this week would be the fact that Oculus Rift, after having such a great GDC, getting so much buzz, competing with another VR helmet, and everybody was just like, oh, Oculus, can't wait for Oculus. Oculus is going to be awesome. They announced that they were bought by Facebook, of all things. So, Will, where were you when you heard that Facebook bought Oculus? It's going to be like presidents getting shot, the Twin Towers getting hit by a plane, or Oculus being bought by Facebook. It's going to be one of those seminal moments, I think.
It's ironic that you asked me that, because I found out about this the first day that I'd left for my wedding. So I was traveling, and my boss of all people. So it seems like you and I discuss Oculus almost on a daily basis, whether it's on a show or not.
Right.
And my boss and I do the same. And he sends me this message on Facebook, ironically enough, and he's like, "Oculus bought by Facebook." And I was like, what a way to like ruin the start of my vacation. This sucks. Well, so my initial reaction is this sucks. Like I just said, we were pretty big fans of the Oculus Rift, and not even having hands-on time with it. Did you ever have a chance to mess around with your friends?
For like 45 seconds, literally.
Okay.
Like very, very small amount of time.
Well, and we had talked just a couple shows ago about how the second dev kit was on sale and shipping in July, and supposedly greatly improved.
Mm-hmm.
So things are just continuing to go awesome for them. And, well, it sounds like it got even more awesome for them. Bought out by Facebook by for a lot of money.
Yeah, not only bought out by Facebook, they were bought out for $2 billion, which is, I can't even... It doesn't compute how much money that actually is. The interesting thing about Oculus is they were born on a Kickstarter. They raised was it 2.5 or 3.5 million on Kickstarter? I can't remember what it was. I think it was 2.5, but it could have been 3.5. Anyway, it was a crap load of money. And then they proceeded to have this really awesome year on just riding the hype from Kickstarter, getting dev kits out there for people, having people that didn't get on the Kickstarter buy dev kits from their website, game developers talk about it. Oculus then proceeded to raise more capital. I think they had one round of venture capital funding, and I think they raised another like $40 million or something, some large number like that. So the people that like the money that they raised to the venture capitalists, those people made a whole crap load of money because they owned a stake of the company, and then they get bought by $2 billion. So those people made like 10 times their money back, which is probably really good for them. So Oculus wasn't really hurting for money. which is the interesting thing about this. They had multiple millions of dollars, and they had lots of people working for them. I mean, they had John Carmack came in and started working for them. So it wasn't a fly by night operation by any stretch. They were a startup. They had lots of money. They had lots of industry contacts. And they had a lot of hype. And then the next thing you know, they're bought by a bigger company that is not a gaming company. Mm-hmm. So when I first heard this, I was just like, what? Why Facebook? Like, I can understand Nintendo. I can understand Microsoft. I could understand, I don't know, pretty much anybody else, like I don't know, Disney buying them, like something that has something to do with gaming. Like, Facebook doesn't make their games. They have gaming on their site, but they've also like pulled the rug out from under the Facebook games multiple times. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, it really kind of confused me as to where this fit.
Well, and I think a lot of, if Oculus would have been bought out by any one of those other companies, any of them, yes, there would have been a little bit of backlash, but Facebook is one of those companies, love them or hate them, but they do have a tendency of ruining experiences, whether it be the timeline or messages, or other things they bought, like you said, even their gaming section, which they really pushed pretty hard for a while.
Sure.
And that's my concern. I mean, it's less the fact that they're not a gaming focused company, because if Apple would have bought Oculus Rift, granted I'm an Apple fanboy, but or if Disney would have bought, then I would have been much more happy, because I think that the opportunity for VR to really make some waves outside of gaming there's huge potential there.
Right.
But it's Facebook. I mean, the only reason I use Facebook now is because it's almost mandatory in this day and age.
Right.
And I hate that, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, for me, it was really confusing when it was first announced. I was like, why would Facebook want this? Like, do they want people to update their homepages or their Facebook walls in VR and have like PlayStation Home with VR goggles? Like, it was really sort of confusing. After the dust kind of settled, to me, it just seems like a move from a company that realizes that social networks are kind of come and go. Like MySpace was the big one and it died, and Friendster and all these other ones. Maybe Facebook is saying, well, let's start diversifying. Let's get into the future, and the future would be VR. It might not be the Oculus Rift. I mean, the eventual end point to where VR is going is this thing that you plug right into your spinal cord and you actually go into the experience, like fully, like all senses into the thing. But maybe Facebook sees this as kind of the future of what the internet is going to be. It's going to be an experience that you get into, and you basically you're in it first person, like you're experiencing it as a person in this environment. So I don't know. To me, it just seems like all the stuff that Facebook has said after, where they're going to let Oculus run as their own company, they're not going to interfere. That is kind of BS, because of course they're going to interfere. They just gave them $2 billion. But they're going to kind of let them become their own thing. I guess Facebook bought, what was the chat app that they bought? I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, they bought that for like $1 billion. They bought Instagram for $2 billion. So they like to buy companies for big amounts of money and then let them run as their own things. I mean, Instagram's its own thing. This other chat app, which I can't think of right now, is their own thing. They're not. It's not the Facebook chat. It's its own thing. So maybe they're just diversifying. Maybe they're trying to set up Facebook to have multiple avenues of multiple avenues for revenue in the future.
Well, and it's not something that is abnormal. Companies make decisions like this and buy other companies when there's recognition of opportunity. The other one that recently comes to mind is Google buying Nest. It's a similar thing. It's not a gaming focused company, but it's outside of the immediate realm of what Google does, and and the same for Facebook. So there's a reason there. And as a consumer, this is probably the best best thing to happen to Oculus because it is going to broaden the appeal of VR, and it's probably going to push it to a broader audience much quicker than video games would.
Yeah, for sure. It if anything, it's going to make it so that it's not a pair of goggles that you buy for a game system. It's not going to be Morpheus, which you buy and you plug it into your PlayStation 4, and that's how you use it. You don't plug it into your computer. You don't plug it into your smartphone. It's the thing for your PS4. I guess Oculus, with Facebook's money behind it, basically it could be its own thing. It could be a computer. It could run off of like Android or whatever and have all these different experiences. So you could get on Facebook, you could get on your different websites in first person mode. You can play games. You could experience social movie viewing with your friends or whatever. There's probably like a lot of different things that you can do if you decouple the VR experience from a specific game system or a PC, if you have it being a little bit more open that way.
Well, and that's another thing I'm actually excited about is the fact that Facebook's biggest demographic now is using their stuff mobile. And that is something that for all the VR that we've really read about or seen, you're tethered, and that limits the experience quite a bit. And so if they can figure out how to make this VR experience a little more mobile, even if it's just untethered in a room, I think that would be a really good thing to push the experiences forward. And more in that 3D space, not just the 12 by 12 inch radius you have of moving your head forward and backward.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because I'm thinking back to some of the stuff that happened at GDC, and there's this one demo that I heard from Oculus where you basically you'd put the headset on and you'd walk into a movie theater. And it was like a fully 3D modeled movie theater with the rows of seats and the lights on the aisle and a movie playing in front of you. I guess that would be something that would excite someone like Facebook. Facebook could premiere movies or TV shows, and you could have people that are in this like 3D world, like PlayStation Home, Second Life. Like there's been other things that have done it, but they didn't have the VR thing. So maybe that will be its way to get mass market appeal. But I don't know. I'm regardless, I'm sure that when you buy your Oculus Rift, it's not going to have a Facebook logo on it. They're going to want to probably stay far away from this as to not sour a lot of people's opinions on the product. But regardless on who's selling it, I want one. Like I want an Oculus, I want a Morpheus, I want like a whatever else. Like I want to experience VR. I want to be playing every single game with a set of goggles on my head in the next year. Like that's where I want to be. Hopefully, having multiple people in the game will allow me to do that.
Yeah, it's interesting though. I mean, although I'm not happy about it, I do see the silver lining with Facebook buying Oculus. But there's been a ton of backlash, and even within the industry, probably the most prominent name to really push back on this is Notch from Minecraft fame, saying that he's no longer going to work on Minecraft for Oculus, and that's a big statement. And although I do think that reaction was a little bit premature, I like the conviction that portrays, and you know that. There is this kind of indie subculture in gaming, and that I think that's something that with the right game, it's pretty easy for, I wouldn't say easy is not the right word, but indie games to just take off, and for that developer to quickly kind of become un-indie in the traditional sense. And the reaction of Notch saying, you know what, Facebook, we don't trust them, we don't like them, so we're not going to continue this, is a pretty big statement.
Yeah, like Notch is kind of king of the indies, right? Even though, I mean, can you really consider Mojang indie now? I mean, they have all the money in the world. They've sold like tens of millions of copies of Minecraft, but they're still kind of the indie darling. And if they damn a company, there's probably going to be a lot of indies that are going to do the same thing. But at the same time, I mean, does someone that's buying this to play Farmville on Facebook really care about what Notch says? So yeah, I don't know. Like trade too fast in the chat room says if they aren't gonna give equity to the people that back them on Kickstarter, they should return all the seed money. And that's one of the things that came up. Like this whole product was started by people backing it on Kickstarter and raising like $2 or $3 million, 2.5 or 3.5, whatever it was. That's the thing that seems really sleazy to me. They took that money to then raise a round of venture funding to get whatever the $40 million or whatever that amount is, and then they took that to springboard into selling for $2 billion. The people that seeded their money through the venture rounds, they got their money back, but the people that bought it on Kickstarter basically got nothing. So I can see where there was a lot of backlash from that. A lot of the people on Kickstarter, if you went to the comments page or if you just looked on Reddit or any of the other ones, they were really kind of pissed off at Oculus for selling out, and not only just selling out, but taking their money and selling out. So we got nothing from you except for this prototype, which is all that we were entitled to. But it just seems kind of sleazy for you to go and do that and take more money and then sell out the company. Yeah. I can kind of see that a little bit, but at the same time, I mean, Kickstarter is not a store, and it's not a investment. You're not buying shares of a stock when you do that. Yeah. But I could see the disappointment and the anger from the people that spent a lot of money backing them on Kickstarter.
Totally. Well, but again, it's what you just said. Does Facebook care? No. I mean, no. They didn't buy it for Kickstarter backers that are, were part of the grassroots initiative. But
yeah, exactly.
It's a weird thing, though, because it does kind of bring something to light that hasn't really been seen before, is what, like you said, it's sleazy, and some could even argue that it's unethical in a way.
Oh yeah.
But without expectations written or otherwise, it's kind of like being an early adopter on a next gen console. It's like, well, you are paying for whatever it says there. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yep.
So that's it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, talk to all the people that have a Wii U right now. I mean, it's treading water and it has cement boots on, and whether it's going to be keeping its head above water over the next little while, who knows? But yeah, I bought it on day one, and I kind of feel pissed off that there isn't more software for it. But I knew what I was getting into when I bought a console on day one, so it's kind of the same thing, I guess. So yeah, that's a good point, Will. Cool. So anything else to say about the Oculus or Facebook or anything?
No. I just can't wait for that virtual Farmville, like you said. That's when VR will really take off.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome, man! Like you just like, it's gonna be great. You plant
like
rows and rows of strawberries and milk cows in virtual reality. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait.
Only when they get smell-o-vision, so you can like grab the strawberries and actually smell them and
stay far away from the cows and the pigs. Yikes. Cool. All right. Well, let's move past our end of line. So our big story this week, of course, was Oculus. It happened a while ago, but we didn't do a show in that time, so we wanted to talk about it. Definitely let us know what you think about Oculus being bought by Facebook. Does this upset you? Do you care? Is it going to change your opinion on buying one? Let us know. Hit us up on the forums. Send us an email or a voicemail. vgpodcast@gmail.com is a good place to start that out, or just hit up our forums on the website. All right, well, let's get into there was a lot of Xbox news or a lot of Microsoft news over the last couple weeks, so why don't we kick that one off? Will, why don't you start it off with the first big story?
So first off, I'd just like to say that I'm kind of glad we're discussing some positives for Xbox. The first one sounds like not much of a positive. Mark Whitten is not leaving. He has left Microsoft, so he was in charge of the Xbox devices division, and he is leaving for Sonos. And ironically enough, I listened to a podcast with him today, and sounds like it's a good move for him. It sounds like Sonos is an environment that is akin to the early days of Xbox.
Right.
Microsoft is going through a lot of managerial changes lately, like
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, this new CEO is basically forcing everybody out, like not forcing them out, not publicly anyway, but forcing a lot of changes all over Microsoft.
That, and there's been lots of kind of concern. Honestly, I can't even speak to this. I don't get it. Stephen Elop,
Mm.
I don't know what his role is.
His role was a mole to basically undermine a company so that Microsoft could sweep in and pick it up on the cheap.
Yeah,
And then now he's back at Microsoft.
Is that what? Yeah, I don't.
Because he was at Nokia for the longest time. He left Microsoft to go to Nokia, and then basically made the partnership with Microsoft to create the Windows 8 phones, and then basically sell most big chunk of the company back to Microsoft. And then he left Nokia back to Microsoft. It's really weird. And he's like the chief of product or it's like chief of products or something, like chief of hardware products, I think is what his title is, something like that. It's really weird.
Well, and it's concerning because he went for this CEO job, and he basically said if he got the job, he would change / get rid of Xbox completely.
Yeah.
And so that was really worrying. And so some of these other changes are pretty positive and exciting, knowing that. So the next thing, and I don't know if this has to do with Mark Whitten leaving. I assume it does. But Phil Spencer, who was the head of Microsoft Game Studios,
yeah,
he's now head of the Xbox division.
And that's good. I mean, Phil Spencer's been around for a while, and he's had his nose in games for a long time. So if anybody else was going to take over as the chief of Xbox, you'd want someone that has gaming first to take it over, not someone that came over from like Microsoft Video or the Zune store. You wouldn't want the Zune chief to come over and take over for the Xbox. You want someone that is a gamer first, and that's what Phil Spencer is. So I mean, the messaging for the Xbox One at the start was, it's not just a game box, it's all this other stuff, and you could play games on it. I have a sneaky suspicion that if Phil Spencer was chief of Xbox prior to the Xbox One's first announcement, that wouldn't have been the message. The message would have been, here's look at all these kick-ass games, look at this, look at that. Oh, and yeah, you can multitask, you watch TV in the background, but who cares? Look at all these great games. And oh yeah, you can watch movies, but yeah, who cares? Look at all these great games. He'd have been that kind of guy. And maybe the Xbox One rollout wouldn't have floundered as much as it did if they had someone that was games first to take over the company or take over that division to begin with. So this is going to be a good thing, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's exciting news before E3 because there's already been lots of info about how gaming focused Microsoft is going to be at E3 this year, which is great, especially after last year. But like you said, with him at the helm, it's going to be. Hopefully, they're going to reverse it. So instead of it being an entertainment system with gaming as a value add, it will be a gaming system with entertainment as a value add, which is how it should have been. Yeah, exactly. I mean, let's be honest. People at E3, they are not there shopping for a new Blu-ray player or a new set-top box.
Totally.
Yeah, this is good. This is really good news. I was really stoked, and he's charismatic. He's like you said, he's well known. He's a face that we've seen often.
And he's been at Microsoft forever. I mean, he's been there for 20 plus years. So I mean, he knows the company. He knows what it takes to make something that sells to gamers. I mean, he's the sole reason for Microsoft basically giving different companies money hats to produce exclusive titles for the console. I mean, that's the type of person you want to take over to lead the charge to kind of get back in the race against PlayStation 4 that is pulling ahead steadily.
Mhm.
So this will be a good thing. It'll be interesting to see in a year's time what the install base numbers are between the two consoles.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Cool. And I guess last up is something that was announced at the Build conference, which is their universal Windows app, which allows devs to create software, whether it's a game or whether it's an app, for pretty much everything. Windows 8, Windows Xbox One, the phone, pretty much everything that runs a Microsoft OS. That's pretty exciting. If you're a dev and you're looking for another place to put your software, you don't want to learn another set of tools and then another set of tools and then another set of tools. You want to just compile it in Xcode for iOS and Mac. You want to code it in whatever for other platforms like your PlayStation 4, and then you want to basically just compile it in one app and have it output to the different devices on your Microsoft side of things. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is good, especially with some of the developer issues people have been having developing games for Xbox. It's nothing like last gen for either system,
No.
but just some of that optimization, specifically when it comes to the RAM, making Xbox or whatever appealing to develop for, whether it be games and small games that fit on a phone and on an Xbox, or apps, because the environment of the Xbox definitely lends itself well to other applications, whether it be media applications or content applications.
Right.
Really excites me as an Xbox owner.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen promises like this from others for a long time though,
Yeah.
and nothing ever come to fruition. So hesitantly optimistic. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, like because Unity runs on everything as well,
hmm
and it does take a lot of work to get your Unity app working on all the different platforms. It's not just like I'm going to compile for the PlayStation 4 today. There's a lot of work that's coming behind
Right.
it, and I'm sure there's going to be similar stuff. But this reminds me a lot of like Xcode, where you create a project and you can have different targets and different code or different kind of UI that will take the same code and run with various different bits of optimization running on each one. If that's the case, I mean, that's a great thing. You're going to get a lot of, like, you'll get the machinima type website apps that will run on all the different devices, and it'll be easy for a developer to come in and do that, which is kind of cool. Hopefully it leads to better games on all the different platforms as well.
Yep.
Cool. All right, well, let's move a little bit past Microsoft and let's get into the Sony stuff. And the big thing at GDC that was exciting to a lot of people that were there was Sony finally, after 2 years of it being rumored, and actually last E3, it was rumored that it would have been shown at E3, but that it wasn't going to be tied to any console. Thankfully, that didn't happen. And that is the Project Morpheus, which is Sony's prototype VR headset for the PlayStation 4. I talked to a bunch of people that were at GDC after this, and one person hadn't tried it. So I was like, really? You were there and you didn't try it? And everybody else, that was the number one thing that they wanted to do and the number one thing that blew them away at GDC. So I'm really excited for it. So Will, Project Morpheus, what is it and why is it so damn exciting? If you are in fact excited by it.
I cannot wait. It's funny. Basically, it's Sony's answer to the Oculus Rift.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, it already has traction, and it's not being released this year. They've said it will not come out in 2014,
Yep.
but there are already games being developed for it. Lots of games, actually. Not necessarily indie games either, like big blockbuster type games.
Yeah. Yeah. And kind of show how easy it is to use this as a developer. One of the demos that they were showing on the stage, or on the show floor rather, if you were there, was Infamous. It was a scene inside of Infamous, and there were some other scenes as well. The one that sounded really cool was you're underwater being attacked by sharks, and that was kind of cool. I'd like to get into that one. There was one where there's a training dummy, and you could hack off like different parts of the training dummy, pick up its arm that you cut off and hit it with it. And the really cool thing about this is that it's not just a headset with sensors built into it. It's a headset that has a bunch of lights on it. So if you have a PlayStation Eye camera, it can track minute head movements because it's capturing that video in really high resolution, and it's probably not going to be as glitchy as, say, like strapping a Wiimote to your head, where sometimes those sensors can get kind of thrown off and they have to be recalibrated all the time. Some of the demos were just the person using the headset with a controller. Other ones were people using the headset with PlayStation Move controllers, which are those stupid wands with the big glowing balls on them. But that allows you to basically have your hand in the 3D world. And like one of the demos where you're picking up something, but if you look down and your hand is where it is, you actually see your hand in 3D space, and you could see the hand grab the severed arm, and you could whack the training dummy a little bit like that. So that seems to me to be pretty cool. Not that I'd really want to have more PlayStation Moves in my house, but what are you going to do?
But it gives you, it actually provides a use for those where you're not looking at this flat surface anymore and it being essentially a motion controller. This is an extension of yourself in a virtual world that is presented to you in a 3D manner that is impossible on a TV screen.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. I'll tell you the two things that excite me most about this is,
Sure.
Well, actually, one is not really. It's funny. We talked about in one of our mini Oculus discussions, we're like, we don't really see Microsoft including Oculus, but if either of the two would do it, it would be Sony. And I just think it's funny that Sony's response is, let's do it our own way. But I feel like this is the gamers' version of the Oculus Facebook announcement. This is a way that makes it attractive to gamers, and it's you're going to buy it. It's going to work with your PlayStation 4, and you're not going to have to do anything because it just works. That's the beauty of consoles. And I mean, imagine if Microsoft doesn't respond to this, and they've mentioned that they're keeping a close eye on it. Yeah. But
even better, after the big stage show that showed this off, Microsoft did an interview the following day that says, "Oh yeah, we've been prototyping VR stuff for the last couple of years, so we're in this game too." It's just like, wow, it was more kind of catch up talk from Microsoft, which is just like, no, don't talk, just back up and say, yeah, it looked interesting. We'll see what we have in store for gamers in the future. Like that would be a better response than well, we've been working on it for years too. It was just kind of made me shake my head a little bit at Microsoft's response to that.
Like the illusion of them working on something is better than them telling us they're working on something.
Yeah, like it's just, of course, like Sony's been working on this for multiple years, and Nintendo's probably been working on stuff like this, and all sorts of companies are working on it. That's not the exciting thing. The exciting thing is seeing it on the stage and people being able to jump into it and play it. The one thing that excited me most about this, besides the fact that I'm going to have a VR helmet in my house in the next year and a half, 2 years maybe, is one of the demos that they showed off. I saw a video of it, but apparently it was playable on the show floor, was Eve Valkyrie. So Eve Online is this big persistent online world of space trading, and doesn't interest me in the least. There was Dust, which was kind of the first-person shooter, which tied into Eve, so people could hire you to fight ground battles for them, and it was free to play, and that was kind of a neat idea. I got into it a little bit and kind of fell out of it. And then they showed this video for Eve Valkyrie, and if you've ever watched Battlestar Galactica, and you see the ships jump out of one of the big battleships, and they fire guns that sound like guns that you would have on a tank. Like there's just that visceral kind of feel to the weapons and the ships and everything. That is Eve Valkyrie. Like they showed battles that looked like it was a battle that was taking place in the Battlestar Galactica universe, and that really got me really excited. And the fact that you'd have a VR headset turn on and you could kind of go like this and look left and right and look up and down and kind of see all these people that were coming at you. that is the one app that I want. Well, sorry, that is one of the two apps. The other app is the next version of Oblivion, of Elder Scrolls, whatever it is, whether it's a Skyrim or sequel or whatever it is. I don't care. I want that in VR because I will probably cease to leave the house if that is a thing. It's probably not a good thing for me though. At the end of the day.
Have both your alternate realities, fantasy and then space combat.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and Valkyrie's kind of a big deal to me too because it was announced as being one of the Oculus launch titles, and although lots of indies were playing around with the Oculus Rift early on, CCP, the developers of both Valkyrie and EVE Online and Dust, they were kind of one of the first big names to really like recognize the importance of this and invest in it. And for them to like be there at the announcement of Morpheus and already showing off what they have and how well it's working with it and really being excited about the product makes me excited because, you know, they're the ones that are actually working with it and seeing how effective or not, if that's the case, it is. But you know, I think it is effective in this case, and it's exciting times to come with VR, and especially as console gamers too.
Yeah, totally. Cool. All right. Well, let's move past the VR stuff. Although I don't want to ever move past VR. Like I still remember being at a conference and playing Dactyl Nightmare, which is really terrible. You're wearing this VR helmet that weighed 25 pounds. You have this thing tied around your waist and this like 5-pound joystick that you're holding with a big fire button on top of it. And as terrible as that was, I wanted one of those in my house. So the thought of having an actual VR helmet in my house in some point in the near future makes me really, really giddy. I can't wait.
Well, and we're both general gamers, but our preference is consoles. And with the Oculus, we never really knew if we were going to get those experiences on console.
Totally.
Now we do. No, we're definitely, and we know it.
We know it's going to happen, and it's just a matter of time. Will. Cool. All right, let's move. Patience. I don't have any patience.
I don't either.
I want it now. I'm an instant gratification kind of person. So, hopefully it'll come out sooner than later because I can't wait for too long, Sony. All right, talking about not waiting for too long, I was just bitching about how long this was taking to come out, just like a week ago even with a buddy of mine. This came out of nowhere yesterday. Was it yesterday or was it the day? It was the day before yesterday.
Day before.
It was on Wednesday. Hearthstone basically hit the iOS platform. It's in a soft launch mode right now in Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. But it'll be coming soon worldwide, and you'll be able to get your mobile Hearthstone fix in wherever you are. I haven't played it yet. I downloaded it instantly, and I've been too busy to actually get in and play it, which is kind of sad, to be honest. But Will, you're not a Canadian. But you've played it through some weird geography time warp thing that you've been pioneering.
It's crazy. I did some research and found out how I could.
Is it like a quantum singularity between 2 points in space? Your iPad's GPS chip is in a different place than where the rest of your iPad is.
That's exactly it.
Nice, interesting.
I neither. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, I have it. I have it, and it's not that difficult to get if you're not patient. Like Lloyd and I were not patient, although he's Canadian. He actually gets it legitimately. They do these soft launches because it allows them to manage the launch of it, and I consider it betas when in the iOS world, so that way they can see how everything handles, whether it be their servers or or matchmaking or whatever. And
the cool thing about that is Canada has about 10% of the population of the US, so if you're going to be launching a game, you want to kind of give it to a large percentage of your install base, but not the whole. So 10% seems to be a good number. And it seems like a lot of stuff is soft launched up here and then gets its worldwide release shortly thereafter.
Yeah. It's awesome. You definitely need to play it. It is the experience that we both kind of wished for when we were playing it on our Macs.
Hmm.
But I have yet to. I know one of your concerns is getting kicked out of the house because you're spending all your family's money on virtual cards.
Yeah,
I've yet to do that. I'm kind of waiting until it launches. Just to, I don't think there's any issue with that, but just to double check.
sure.
But oh, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
I was telling you before the show started, I've been playing lots of games, and then I'm like, okay, time to go to bed. And then I spent another hour in bed playing Hearthstone this week.
That's funny. So I have a question. I'll be able to find this out shortly when I play it. But when you play the game and you are buying premium packs in the game, are you buying it with your iTunes account or with money that you've loaded into your account on Blizzard?
Great question. You're buying it with in-app purchases, so
Wow,
through
really?
iTunes,
So they're giving 30% of that purchase to Apple. That's interesting.
which is weird because you still have to log into your battle.net account,
Right.
and it syncs. So if you are buying it through Blizzard, then you can still get it to your iPad and you still have all the same access, but Apple's not taking a cut. So that's a great question though, because this was one of my questions. It's like, how are they going to deal with that?
Yeah. And I mean, I try not to have my credit card anywhere. Like I had my credit card number was skimmed from some website somewhere, and just before going on a trip, I get a call from my card company saying, "Yeah, your card was used for this," and it was a huge hassle to try to figure out. It's like, okay, well, I'm actually getting in the car to leave in 5 minutes. Like, what is going to happen here? So I try not to give my credit card to anybody anymore. Like, I think the only company that has it is Apple, and even then, I have it set so I'm pretty much funding my account with iTunes cards that I'm buying. I don't even think my card's linked to it right now, because I'm once bitten, twice shy. So
Mhm.
I don't even think Blizzard has it from when I was a World of Warcraft subscriber. So the thought of me like giving them my credit card is just like, oh, I don't want to do that again. But if I could buy it with iTunes cards, I mean, maybe that's not a good thing, because maybe I then will start buying these virtual cards, which is not too good.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
for me, it's going to be an iOS game. It's not going to be something I'm bouncing back and forth from.
Sure.
So the convenience factor, I really dig. I mean, I don't care. I'm paying the same amount, whether it be on Blizzard or app through the app. So it's just a matter of Blizzard losing a cut.
Yeah, exactly. Which is weird. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like, you have to play by Apple's rules when you play in their little fenced in yard. But it just seems kind of weird for a large company like Blizzard to hand over 30%. But I guess 30% of a hell of a lot of players is still, it's better than like 0% of zero on their side is as well. Like, if you're getting all these iOS gamers that are pretty easy and used to forking over money for things like what's this stupid Candy Crush garbage and Clash of Clans and all these other ones where there's not much game there, but people are spending enough money for it to be at the top of the charts consistently. I guess Hearthstone would be the next one, or at least hopefully, because then it's a real game that people are actually spending real money on.
Yep, I completely agree with that sentiment.
Cool. All right. Well, Hearthstone's out there. If you're Canadian, jump into it. I'm going to have to get into that over the next day or so and play a couple games with you, Will, maybe over
Definitely.
iOS. But
I keep looking at my friends list and everyone's playing like StarCraft or WoW.
yeah,
I'm like, I want to play Hearthstone.
I'm going to have to jump into that soon for sure. Cool. All right, let's move on to the next big story. Amazon. We talked about how recently they bought a game developer, and that they were getting to more of the kind of gaming side. And we're like, why are they doing that? Like, what's the end game here? I guess we know kind of what part of the end game is. This week, Amazon unveiled their Fire TV set-top box. It's $99, and they also just started selling it pretty much the same day. So it's like, oh yeah, here's this thing. Oh yeah, you can buy it now for $99. So I don't know, Will, are you up for buying a a console from Amazon.
I don't need another set-top box.
No. I'm the same way. I have an Apple TV, and the Apple TV is so key to my TV consumption that I bought one for every single television in the house. Like all my videos, like I'm a collector when it comes to movies, and I'm a collector when it comes to everything. Let's be honest here, but movies and audio and all that stuff. Like I've ripped every single CD I own, like 500 CDs. They're sitting on I have a big external hard drive. My iTunes library lives on there. So all my music that I've ever bought and what I continue to buy is there. Every DVD and Blu-ray that I've ever bought has been ripped and stored on that device as well. So any media that I own is like 3 button presses away from me. So Apple TV is kind of my thing. This looks interesting, but it looks like a glorified Ouya at the end of the day to me. But yeah, Canon Shane in the chat room says spend the $99 on a Retron 5, and that will be what I'm doing for sure. I want a Retron 5 in the near future for sure. But yeah, $99. It's a set-top box. It does the Netflix. It does the Amazon Instant Video. It does all that other stuff. And it also will play some games from the Amazon store, provided you buy the extra controller, because it doesn't come with the game controller, I don't believe. You have to buy the Fire TV game controller. I'm trying to look for the name of it, but I can't find it. But it's kind of weird. You buy the controller and you get a bunch of games. Oh yeah, the game is, or the controller rather, is $40, and it comes with 1,000 Amazon coins, which is ridiculous. But yeah, you buy the controller for $40. I guess it's not out yet, and you'll be able to get a bunch of games with your coins.
And not only that, certain games you can actually play with the included remote.
Sure.
Which, okay, that will be fine for the casuals.
Yeah. You don't know Jack, you could play it with that.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably play Solitaire and other things like that, but not much else.
What's that one? It starts with an O. It's an iOS game. You're the little black creature that like floats. It's like not Angry Bird. It's not like Angry Birds, but it's kind of that same feel.
I think I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of the name either.
Not Outlast. I don't know. I saw someone playing that though, because all you have to do is just press a button and it floats up.
Sure.
So
that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's a neat thing, I guess. It's like I said, it's $100. I mean, the Ouya is also $100. It runs a flavor of Android. It has a pretty small CPU. I mean, it's a quad core, but it's an ARM CPU. It does have 2 gigs of RAM and 8 gigs of internal storage, which is, I guess, okay. I don't know. It's interesting. I won't be buying one of these, but I know some people that have already ordered one. So
yeah, here's the thing. The space is already extremely crowded. Every time a new set-top box or streaming stick, in the case of something like a Chromecast, comes out, there's all this hype, when more times than not it doesn't really do anything different. Okay, this can buy a controller. Well, I can AirPlay any game I want to my Apple TV. So I think one thing that they build this the marketing buzz was that it's more powerful. And even if that's just more RAM, so it's going to be a little bit snappier, because that's one thing that a lot of these set-top boxes kind of has issues with, is that they're slow. But I don't care. I just thought it was interesting because we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Why did they buy this development house? And now we know why, because there's a game and more to come.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think they're going to lock it out of the Android ecosystem though, and make it Fire only?
I don't know. It's basically, it's running Mojito, which is the Amazon Fire, the Kindle Fire OS. So it's a version of Android which really isn't like Android. I don't think you can access the Play Store from. Well, I guess you can from a Kindle Fire tablet. So yeah, maybe you can get to there from here. I'm not sure. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. The thing about this that is kind of exciting to me is it has integrated voice search.
Mm-hmm.
So you basically, the remote that it comes with, it has a little microphone, and you say play, I don't know, How I Met Your Mother, and it will try to find How I Met Your Mother on all the different devices and services that you're on. And I mean, that's kind of cool. And that's been rumored to come on the Apple TV, the newer versions of the Apple TV. I could see that being really useful for a lot of people. So even if you're buying it just as a set-top box and a streaming box, for a lot of people, that would be really exciting. For me as a gamer, someone who wishes that they wouldn't have actually spent the money on an Ouya. I don't see myself ever getting this in the near future, but who knows? This is the first kick of the can. Maybe it'll be something that would be a viable thing for the consumers that just want to play the Angry Birds and the Candy Crush and those other kind of simplistic sort of apps. Maybe that's enough game for a lot of people, and this would be something for this. Like I'm in Canada, so we don't have really great Amazon service. Our Amazon Prime still takes like 3 days to get here. So it's like, why are you paying the extra money to get next day shipping that isn't next day? A lot of the stuff isn't available up here in Canada. We just can't order some products for whatever reason. So we don't, as a family, we don't use Amazon for much of anything. We don't have their video service. So when you buy Prime, you don't even get streaming video. Like, a lot of the stuff just isn't applicable up here, so I don't see myself ever wanting to get in here. But if I was in the States and I was already buying all my toilet paper and mouthwash from Amazon just by clicking 2 buttons on my computer, this might be a service that I would want to get into just because it's already part of my life.
Yeah.
And they also announced another product today. It's this little thing. It's called like I can't remember what it's called, but it's this little stick that has a barcode reader and a microphone on it. So it's like, you want to order something, you scan the barcode, or you say, I want to buy some Listerine, and it just ties it into. It's like I don't know, it's like something from the Jetsons or whatever.
Yeah.
You just say, order me some toilet paper, and it'll order some stuff and send it to you. If you have an Amazon Prime, it'll be like next day or whatever. It's like, what the hell is this? Like, why is Amazon getting into the devices so much lately? It's kind of weird.
They're preparing for that when you need toilet paper delivered next day via the drones.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
no, not next day, in 30 minutes.
In 30 minutes, yeah. Yeah, from their big tower of toilet paper they're going to build in every city just so they're ready. Yeah, it's really, really kind of bizarre. But as far as the Amazon Fire TV, I don't know. I don't think it's anything that I'm too interested in, but it's kind of cool that it exists, I guess.
Well, and for me, I personally, I don't care, but I'm going to be interested watching how this affects Ouya and vice versa.
Well, I mean, Ouya's already diversified. Like, they came out with an announcement a couple weeks ago saying, we're still going to be selling our Ouya boxes, but we're also going to make it easy for every device manufacturer to put Ouya on their device. It's like, okay, well, let's fragment an already fragmented Android ecosystem even more with like the ability for Roku to have an Ouya channel that you could start up and buy games off of Ouya. And it's like, well, if I'm already doing that, why don't I just buy stuff off the Play Store and run it on my Android-based set-top box or my tablet or whatever. So yeah, I don't think Ouya is too long for this world, unfortunately. Or fortunately, I guess. I don't even know. I don't care either way. I have the product. It's so bad where they gave me, they emailed me a code recently. I can't remember what it was. I think it was for $10. So here's $10 free. Come back and buy some games. But I had to use it before a time, and it was like 3 days away. And it's just like, I don't want to take it out and hook it up. So I just never did it. Like I let $10 kind of just burn up into nothing because I care that much about Ouya.
That's how bad it's gotten.
Yeah, it's really kind of sad. Really kind of sad. Cool. All right, let's move on. Our last story of the day is kind of interesting. Amy Hennig, she left kind of in a weird way. There was a lot of stuff about it. She left the company's name that I'm blanking on. Naughty Dog. I was like, anyway, it's really late and I'm super tired, so I do apologize. But yeah, she left Naughty Dog. Was she pushed out? Did she leave on her own? Like, there was all these stories and and even the Naughty Dog owners came out and said, none of our employees forced her out. If anybody was to force her out, it would have been us, which was just like a non-admitting like admittance to this happening. Like, it was just really, really odd. But after working on Uncharted forever, she's now over at Visceral Games as a creative director on some new Star Wars project, which is really exciting. If someone that had like all the, I don't know, the great scripts, the great direction for all the Uncharted games is now going to jump into something with Star Wars on it, that makes me really, really excited, because I love Uncharted, but I also love Star Wars. And if I could get a Star Wars game that is almost as good or better than an Uncharted, that would make me a very, very happy gamer.
Yeah, and this is not like a Battlefront game. This has to be like a Shadows of the Empire type game.
Yeah. What was the name of that Star Wars game? It was like 1849 or something. It was some weird name.
The Bounty Hunter one.
It looked
13.
Was it
13?
13 something. I can't remember. That game looked really, really, really awesome. But you could tell that there was like the seed of the project was there. And I don't know if this is a project she's going to be working on, but if you could get a project like that with Star Wars and with some great narrative like storylines in the game, that makes you really happy, and I'm super excited about that.
Yeah. Well, and when she left, regardless of the circumstances, people were like, "Where is she going to go? Is Microsoft going to pick her up? Is Bungie going to pick her up? 343 Industries." I didn't want any of those. I don't want Uncharted storytelling in my
Halo.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if she went to BioWare for the next Mass Effect, but Mass Effect does a pretty good job. Maybe not as streamlined as Uncharted, but they do a good enough job.
Right.
This is awesome. This is like, we talked about an amazing property, Star Wars, beloved by millions, and throwing this type of talent in it. And as gamers, it gives us some excitement, because I don't know, I'm excited at the possibility of what the joining of the two could mean.
Yeah, because I mean, Star Wars games used to be good. Knights of the Old Republic was awesome. The old Jedi Knight games were really great. And then something kind of fell off, like the wheel kind of fell off the truck, and they had some issues. And with Disney owning everything now and kind of rebooting kind of what the Disney game studios are, and then talking about how they're going to be working with other companies to develop Star Wars games, and it was just it worried me that even though Disney, who kind of knows what they're doing with things, they kind of make some really good products, but even though they were involved with owning Star Wars, I still thought that there would be some issues, especially from the game side. And then they came out and said, yeah, we're gonna have development deals with other big companies. We don't want to develop everything in house. That kind of got me excited. But then this is just like, okay, well, there you go. That'll be the next Star Wars game I want to play. Hopefully it comes out, and hopefully it's not as horrible as the prequels. And hopefully the movies that come soon are going to be good, because that would make me so sad if they're really, really terrible. So yeah. But so Amy Hennig is now at Visceral, working on a new Star Wars game. That is a really, really cool thing. Cool. All right, man. That's it for news. We covered a lot of stuff. What do you say we get into what we've been playing?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, you started off. You have the big list this time. So why don't you tell us about what you've been playing?
Yeah, it's ironic. I've tried to cram my 2 weeks of gaming into 2 days. So I'm continuing to play Titanfall. Thankfully, my skills haven't diminished too bad by not playing that. So that's fun. I haven't streamed anything in a while, but I wanted to make sure I had my sea legs back under me before I did that.
Nice.
Or my mechanical mech legs, I guess, would be more appropriate. I already talked about Hearthstone. Check it out. The game's awesome. But then, yeah, I've actually finally, Lloyd, had the opportunity to play some new games.
What? You don't play new games. You play the same thing over and over.
Over and over. That's been par for the course, but not this week. I am now playing Dead Nation, DC Universe Online.
That sounds familiar. It's weird. I don't think that's on the Xbox One. I don't know what you're talking about, Will.
No, it's not. I finally got myself a PlayStation 4.
Congratulations, Will. Finally. I'm so happy for you.
I'm one of the cool kids now. Yeah, so I've been playing basically anything free on the system that I can get my hands on. And not that I'm against paying money, but I'm still very much enjoying Titanfall. And so, honestly, I don't want to jump into InFAMOUS is what I'm trying to say just yet. Anyway.
You should. It's really good.
I know. Good. Is it bad? I looked up... Yeah, never mind. I'm probably going to break down. In fact, if we didn't have the plan, we'll talk about it here in a bit, but if we didn't have the plans we do after the show, I was already at the top of the show. I'm like, maybe I will start the download.
It'll be finished by the time we're done the show.
Totally. Yeah. Good thing I don't have it on standby, or I would have logged into the app and had download.
Do you know, that is the single best thing about my PlayStation 4. Like the store will update, usually updates around like noon my time, usually maybe 2:00, and there'll be a game that I want, and it like I leave work at 4:30 usually, so at about 3:30, 4:00 or whatever, I'll log into the PlayStation Store. I'll hit buy to buy whatever the thing is. I'll hit download to my PS4. My PS4 remotely wakes up, starts to download. By the time that I get home from driving from work, whatever the game is downloaded, it's installed, it's patched, and it's ready to go.
That's awesome.
They've really done something right with that, because the PlayStation 3, apparently you could get games to download while you were not on your console. I never got it to work. You basically had to have your PlayStation on. It wouldn't wake up from sleep. Like and even if it was on, half the time none of this stuff would work for me. PlayStation 4 just works, and I'm really stoked. And I've used it so many times now. Whenever like a new demo comes out or something, it's like, yep, download my PlayStation 4. I get home from work, and boom, it's there waiting for me. It's really
That's
nice.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, and the only reason it's for me right now, it's non-standby, is I just need to do a little research on the energy consumption because my Xbox being my TV box, it will always be in standby.
Sure.
So I just want to compare the two. But yeah, that's something that Xbox doesn't have, and I'm really excited about it on PS4.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you should. I don't think it uses much more power when it's in standby mode, but I'm not positive on that. I usually look at the wattage usage. At least we used to talk about that on the Nintendo podcast, because that was something Nintendo always trumpeted. But I haven't looked into what the PS4 does. I'll have to look into that.
Well, and they're both. I mean, they're both computers, right? And
Yep.
I leave my computer on all the time, so
yeah, for sure.
It's just asleep, so it's the same thing. So
Yep.
I'm just going to do it. Thank you for convincing me.
You're welcome. I'm always happy to help, Will.
I'm gonna wait a couple shows to really get a good feel for the 4 before I give my comparison, and not necessarily review, but just kind of like some things I like about both systems and compare the two. But God, that thing is so tiny. I don't understand.
You could fit like 5 of them if you cut them up into the Xbox One.
It's insane. Originally I was going to put it upstairs in my office, which I'll probably end up moving it there anyway eventually, but I wanted to have it on the big screen, and my wife was saying, that's weird to say, I almost called her my fiance. She was like, no, not another box, and I put it there, and she's like, holy crap, that's small. I'm like, isn't it?
It's really tiny, and it's so small that when I usually stand my consoles on their side just so they fit beside my TV, I kind of feel scared to do it, because it like its base is it's like an inch wide, so it's like, well, if like the kid bumps into the thing where my TV is gonna fall over, like what's happening here? It's
vibration on the floor.
Yeah, like it's really like you have your subs up too high, and it's gonna vibrate off or something. Yeah, it's really small. That is something that's really quite striking, especially when you see an Xbox One and it's as big as your television compared to this thing. It's really, really tiny.
It's dead sexy.
Cool. So what do you think? Like, you're not going to give your comparison, but overall, like, what do you think of the user interface, the ease to get in and out of games? is it next gen for you? I mean, the Xbox One has some other features that this doesn't have, but do you dig it?
I really wish you wouldn't have asked me that. The reason I want to wait is because honestly, I'm underwhelmed.
Oh, okay.
So let me just explain what I mean by that. I love how quick it is.
Hmm.
I really like how streamlined it is, and that is it's a huge pro to the system. It's like
Right.
even more so than the PlayStation 3. I was able to find my way around it in 10 minutes. Unlike the Xbox, which did take me a couple days to really get comfortable with the OS. So that's definitely a pro to the PS4. But the thing that is kind of underwhelming about it, and if I would have gotten the PlayStation 4 first, I doubt I'd be saying this.
Sure.
But I have gotten so used to my console being kind of a multi-use device
Right.
and being robust, and the PlayStation 4, as they build it, is a gaming machine, and it seems to do that phenomenally. But right now, I'm still kind of used to my console not being just a gaming machine. So that's gonna just, I think, take a little getting used to for me,
Sure.
and it's not a bad thing for the system. And that's why I'm like, I gotta actually give some usability testing and really kind of figure out where I land on each side of those coins.
Hmm.
But I do like I like how fast it is. It's a lot snappier, the UI is,
Yeah.
than the one, which is cool. Um,
It's
and
night
I
and
also
day from the PlayStation 3.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's
Even Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like the store is fast, getting between menus is fast. Like it's kind of unbelievable how fast it is and how socially connected it is as well, which is really kind of cool.
Oh, and those features. One thing is I don't have any PlayStation friends really because I never played multiplayer on my three, so I haven't got to experience some of the receiving end of those social features,
Sure.
like seeing the feed and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that, but man, I instantly fell in love with the share button. That thing is so freaking cool.
Yeah. It's super easy. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as easy as Xbox Record that, I guess. Well, actually, it probably just is because it's one button that you hit.
Well, but I had the option of connecting to Twitter
Yeah.
and screenshots, which is something you can't do on Xbox. And that's I've actually followed quite a few listeners on Twitter, and I love seeing their tweets on what they're playing. I'm nowhere near my console, but I still kind of like get to connect with my fellow gamers and see. I'm not watching their Twitch stream, but I still get to see kind of what they're playing, and that's really cool.
Right.
So. I dig it. I think I'm going to actually learn to like it a lot more.
Yeah.
Um, so,
Get back to me
yeah.
once you play Infamous and you see how unbelievably gorgeous that game is.
Well,
It's
and
it's ridiculous.
that's part of the reason I want to get the game because I feel like it's a must-have, kind of like Titanfall, even though they're very different games.
Yeah. It's your duty as a
But
podcaster to be able to talk about how beautiful the game is.
okay, you've convinced me.
No, that's you use that to sell it to your wife. Is
Oh,
I'm giving you
okay.
wife ammo.
Or because we've yet to combine our finances, now's the time to buy up all the games, right? Have them in my library, so when I can't buy anymore, I still have
There
to
you go.
play.
That's awesome.
So, and honestly, the gaming side of the system isn't really much for me to talk about. I've played Mercenary Kings and Resogun, but most of those were just excuses to play with the console and kind of find my way around it.
Sure.
I haven't gotten heavy in any of them, but it's funny. Like last night, I played DC Universe Online for a little bit, and then I jumped into Titanfall, and then after that, I jumped into Hearthstone, and I'm like, I did most of my. That's like a month's worth of gaming for me in a single night.
That's funny. And they're way different styles too, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, totally. What about you? What have
Nice.
you been playing?
I've been so busy with work. I've been trying to get some gaming in just to clear the brain. I picked up Infamous on its release day and didn't get into it until the weekend and platinumed it. pretty much like a few days later. I played the hell out of Infamous, man, and from start to finish, I was like a kid in a candy store. The game is awesome. If you like Infamous, the franchise, I was a big fan. You're just gonna love this game. If you've never played Infamous before, I've talked to some of my friends that have never played it but started playing this one. They're like, it seems kind of grindy, and it's like, yeah, I mean that's Infamous. You're doing the same similar sort of things in different parts of the city to unlock all the stuff. It's no different than say Assassin's Creed, where you're doing the same similar kind of missions, but the visuals, man, like it's like the first time when it's night and you get your neon power and you suck the neon out of this huge neon sign and you see every individual particle kind of like lighting up its environment as it travels towards you, you're just like, holy crap. And you're running around at night when it's been raining and there's a sheen on everything and your jacket gets slicked because you've been outside, and it's just like, wow. Like there's so many times where I just kind of stood there for a bit and kind of just panned the camera around my character, and it looks so good. Like,
it's awesome.
I've played a lot of the games on my PS4, and none of them really wowed me. Like Thief was nice looking, but it was multi-genre or multi-generation rather, multi-platform. I played a lot of other games as well. Like Assassin's Creed looks really good. I'm playing Tomb Raider Definitive Edition right now, and I played the original one, so I can see kind of the graphic boost, but none of it is wowing me like Infamous did. So if you're looking for a game to kick your friends' eyeballs when they come over to watch you play it, that's the game. Like I played, what was the other one? Killzone. That's the game I couldn't think of. Killzone, and the mission 4 or whatever, the one where you're on the dropship and you kind of fly over the city and drop in, and the one that they showed at E3, it looks exactly like that, and it looks really, really good. It doesn't look Infamous good. Infamous just looks unbelievable. So,
well, I'm a graphics for it, and so it's kind of bad, but that is the biggest reason I want that game, is just to like, especially since that's been the fight, is how the PS4 kicks the one's butt in performance. I just like want a game that I could be like, holy crap, this is amazing.
Yeah, and this will be the game that'll do that. Hopefully I'm not overselling it, then you're going to be underwhelmed, but it looks really, really nice. Like the only thing about it that it's really weird is the characters, you get kind of an uncanny valley from them, because everything in the environment looks so real, and then you have the characters on the screen and they look stylized, like they're meant to look that way. That's the way they're supposed to look, but they don't look like completely human. When you're in an environment that's totally like photorealistic, it's just like, what? That kind of pulls you out for a second, but then your brain catches up and it's all okay.
That's interesting.
But yeah, I played through Infamous. I beat it on normal. Playing through is good. So I always play through the good way first, and had a lot of fun unlocking. There's 4 different powers that you unlock that you can. Unlike the first 2 Infamous, where you basically had your power, which was like the electricity guy, you were Cole, the guy with lightning. You play Delsin, a character, and your power as a conduit, which is the people in this world that have the ability to have extra powers compared to normal humans, is you have the power to suck the power out of other people. So you're kind of like the rogue. You walk up and you touch a guy that has smoke power. Next thing you know, you have smoke. The ones that they've shown in the all the videos leading up is smoke and neon, and there's 2 other powers that you unlock, and I'm not going to spoil them at all, because it's the one that I had no idea what it was, just blew my mind when I got it. It was,
I've been dying to find out what those are. Unbelievable.
It was just so freaking cool. But when you have smoke and you have neon, like it's so cool to be like, you get neon and you can run up the side of a building. You have smoke and you can teleport basically through like fences and things. And it's just amazing how you can switch from one to the other, just by sucking the the base element from the environment. Like you walk up to a car and you suck at its exhaust, or there'll be like a little a Civic driving by with ground lighting. You can suck the neon out from its ground lighting, or an open sign. You can suck the neon out of there and power your attacks. It was so good to get into that. So yeah, I played through the first time as good, like I normally do. Beat it in like not maybe a day. Like people are saying it's a short game, you could beat it in 6 hours. I don't think so. It probably took me about 20 hours on my first playthrough to do everything to get 100%. Maybe 20 is a little bit much, maybe more like 14, 15, 16, somewhere in there, to get 100% of everything. And then I jumped right back into it and I started playing on the hardest mode, very hard, or whatever it's called, on evil. And when you do that, you get different powers, and all the powers are a little bit different because of the way that you can, you would do stuff one way on good, and you have to do it the other way on bad to kind of keep your combos going and unlock your special superpowers and things like that. And I just had so much fun with it. And then on top of beating it twice and getting my platinum, there's now the infamous Paper Trail, which is an online ARG, alternate reality game, where you do stuff in the game and it says upload this evidence to your Paper Trail account. So you do that, you go to like an actual like mailbox to send it to yourself. Then you log into this website and you get all the stuff that you sent yourself on this website, and you look at the things and you figure out the mystery. I had to hack into a website to do some stuff. You hack into that website, and then it uploads stuff back to your game. So you go back to the game and you get your results, and you have to track someone with your cell phone, and then you go through another mission and then you upload it. And it's like, this is like a free content thing that they've just added to it. So it's keeping me back into it. And then they announced today or 2 days ago, I think it was, that in a couple weeks they're going to be coming out with a big patch, which they're going to be allowing you to change the way that the graphic engine works a little bit, so you can lock your frame rate or not. You can have it so you can change your time of day, because how it is when you beat the game, it's always kind of like dusk for the rest of the time that you're playing the game. So they're going to have it so you can choose all the different times of day and weather just through a menu, which will be kind of cool to play around. The ability to turn off the HUD, so you can take really beautiful screenshots where you're in the dark with rain and neon nearby and you have no HUD, and you take these beautiful screenshots you can use on your Facebook profile or whatever. I'm really, really enjoying Infamous. Even though I beat it, I've gone back in multiple times just to play through some different things. So it was a really fun game. Definitely gets a thumbs up from me. If you're looking for a game on your PS4, this is the game. If you are someone like Will, who's a graphics whore that just loves the best looking games out there, this one might even be a system seller. If that's the type of gamer you are, it is a lot of fun. One of my buddies that I work with, he finally got a PS4, and I've been on him to pick up this game. I'll have to check with him over after the weekend's done to see if he finally bid on it and what his thoughts are. But he's that type of person where graphics, and I showed him some of the screenshots I've taken and stuff, and he's like, "Oh, damn it, okay, I just spent $500, but I guess what's another 70 to get in and do that." So yeah, Infamous Second Son is really, really fun.
Good to know.
And I've been playing lots of other things. Like there's been a bunch of free games on PlayStation Plus. I've been playing stuff on my Vita. I picked up Fez, and like Fez is great. Even better about it, you buy it once and it's a cross-play, so you can play it on your PlayStation 3, your PlayStation 4, and your Vita. It's really kind of awesome that devs are doing that on the Sony platform. Really makes it makes me much more likely to buy your game if I could play it on both my Vita and my PlayStation 4. So that's been cool as well. And yeah, I think that's it. I picked up Skylander Swap Force on my PlayStation 4 because it was half off, and why not? So I've been playing a little bit of that with the kids, and yeah, I've been playing a little bit of stuff in between being passed out, tired from work and other stuff that's been happening. So I haven't been playing.
Sounds like it sounds like you needed it, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, Infamous was definitely my decompress from the craziness that was happening. So that was a lot of fun to get into. But yeah, I think that's about it, man. It's been fun, but there's so many games out there that I want to get into. I mean, I think since the last time we recorded, I played through Stick of Truth, the South Park game. if you're a South Park fan, this is the ultimate like South Park thing that you could ever get into. It was so much fun to play through that, and some other games as well. But maybe I'll save that for another day. Are you a South Park fan, Will? Do you like South Park?
I am, yeah, and I want the game. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it.
Yeah, that'll be one. Pick it up when it's in like the bargain bin or used or whatever, because there's nothing crazy about it that you have to own it on day one, especially since it's a PlayStation 3 game as well. So that made me, I almost didn't get it because I didn't want to play anything on my old console, but I'm glad I did. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's what my buddy said too. He played it on 360 and he's like, yep, definitely need to play it at some point. So that's my plan.
Yep, definitely. All right, man. I think that's going to about do it for this episode, man.
It was a good one. We had lots of stuff to cover from the last couple weeks of not getting together and chatting.
Definitely. So, again, our apologies for not coming out with the show for the last little while. Hopefully that'll be the last break that we take for the near future anyway. Thanks for staying subscribed and tuning in and letting us know what you think of the show. You can let us know what you think of it by heading over to our website, vgpodcast.com. Email us at vgpodcast@gmail.com or call our voicemail line, which is area code 505 VG Podcast. We do want to hear from you. Let us know what you think of the show. All right, man. Well, my voice is almost gone. I haven't talked this much in a while. So what do you say we close it up? And why don't we let's go play some Dead Nation on our PlayStation 4.
That sounds like an awesome plan. We finally get to play a video game together.
That'll be fun. We're going to jump into some co-op. We'll do some Twitch streaming. So if you guys are still checking out the live stream, the stream will go dead for about the next, 4 or 5 minutes, something like that. Just long enough for us to start up a game and start the stream. And we're going to try to do this more often over the next few weeks and months. Do some regular game nights with you guys and with us. So do check it out. Follow us on Twitter or hit up the forums, and we'll post some of the details about that when we've come up with something with a little bit more concrete, I guess. All right, man. Will, thanks for joining me yet again.
Thank you. It was fun as always. I missed it.
It is. It's nice to get back to doing this after not doing it for so long. It's good.
It's kind of weird. I was a little nervous as like doing it so consistently for a while. It's like 2 weeks off. Oh my gosh. I forgot everything, how to do this.
Well,
Not really.
I forgot how to start the show. I didn't forget to turn your volume up at the start. So the first couple words you said I didn't hear them. So, some things just never change.
That's all right. Just kicking off the rust.
Exactly. All right, guys. Thanks again for subscribing to the DeREZD podcast. We'll talk to you in a week's time. If you want to join us live, we record this every Friday, except when we're not, when we're disappearing for a couple of weeks. But we record this every Friday at 10 p.m. Central at vgpodcast.com/live. We do urge you to come join us. It is fun live. Thanks everybody that's dropped by and took in the live show and jumped in on the chat room and chatted with us. We do appreciate it. We do love chatting with you guys, and we'll talk to you in about a week's time. Take it easy, everybody.